sitting in my chair late at night, watching crime unfold under the pale moonlight. From the darkest corners, stories unfold. True crime jewels, she's brash and she is bold.
All right,
On the
so
YouTube screen, we're
I'm not going to
digging
sit
deep
here
into
with all this music stuff waiting for that to pass by. I'm just going to do a quick little live, and I apologize for my silly birds. They're very excited that I'm at home and in the same room with them. So we're just going to bear with it and just know that my two birds, Barry behind bars and Fancy behind bars, that they too love true crime. All right. Hi, Selena Dixon. Welcome. Good to see you in the bushes. Lisa C. Deanna, Sam, I am. Kristen, how are you? Retha Bell, Dee Dee Sue, Mary Harris. Welcome all. Well, it is very tropical at my house, bushes. I've got my colorful birds singing and chirping, and man, if you guys could see the ocean, it is showing out. We are white capping. We got waves rolling. I mean, it is beautiful. And I was actually about to go out and get some video because the water is really, really angry today. And then, I thought, well, let me just kind of scroll through Twitter real fast because I just finished work for today. I scroll through real fast, and then I'll do a little video with the water, and then I'll watch the Dr. Turk trial. And then I ran across this, and I don't know what it means. I'm not going to get up in here and start making these grand proclamations, but I do think I feel safe saying this. I think Christopher Proudfoot has once again lied. Okay, this man seems to have no real appreciation or understanding of the fact that the internet is public. And that means that you can see what I can see, and we can see what he is doing. So it is crazy that he just tells these lies and then expects everybody just to believe his words. It's pretty interesting. So nonetheless, they are in Hendersonville. They're doing the whole Bullhorn Betty court date. I think it's supposed to be starting at 1:30. And so this is this completely unrelated to Bullhorn Betty. Has nothing to do with Bullhorn Betty. Okay, it doesn't. Has nothing to do with it. So let me post this, and then we'll play it, and then we'll go on with our discussion about it.
Yes, I Tennessee 116-400-29. OCM please. 202, guys. Can you show me out at 1008 Stafford Court, Warrant criminal? Yes, I Tennessee 116.
Whoa! What was that?
Now,
what's 10?
Jay and Christopher Proudfoot are really friendly. So she's now upset because she's heard this police scanner, and they have given out the address to the Proudfoot home. And the police officer that's on the scanner says, I'm at 1008 Stafford Court, which is Christopher Proudfoot's house. And he said, I've just delivered a warrant criminal as opposed to like civil. Okay, so this is true. This is fact.
008, y'all. Yeah, this is from the Sumner County Dispatch 7 minutes ago. Was this 7 minutes ago? 3 sides? What? Hold on. Let me play it again.
00529. OCM please. 202, guys. Can you show me out at 1008 Stafford Court, Warrant criminal?
He said, show me at 1008 Stafford. And then he said, warrant criminal.
Yes, I Tennessee 116-400-5.
What the fuck? Wait, 3 sides. When did you? That is their house. Warrant criminal. Uh-oh. What's going on? Does it say anything else? Hold on.
Hold on.
Hold on, guys.
Okay, so Jay,
I'm going to text CP and see if anything's going on.
so she says, I'll call CP and see if anything's going on. Okay. So she's chummy with Chris. Chris is giving her photographs of and videos of Sebastian to post online.
All right, hold on. Let me play this again.
To prove what a good guy he is, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Now, so then I thought, so you can look at this, see, this was 2 hours ago. All right. And I don't mind saying this, y'all. I don't ever believe this group of people. Like, I don't take it at face value because they're manipulative and maybe they're setting something funny up, or they're setting something up that'll give them a topic for their YouTube show or whatever. So I just always go, okay, well, maybe it's something, maybe it's not. And I hold off until I actually hear somebody with authority, right, to say that. So then I found War Eagle posted, I absolutely cannot, and I love War Eagle. So if you guys are on Twitter, please follow her. I absolutely cannot even imagine the epic meltdowns these sister wives will have if Christopher Proudfoot ever gets arrested in the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers. She is so shook. Her breathing is shaky. It's hilarious. Just breathe, girl. Seriously. And then she plays this. So this is showing you that this is the actual dispatch, right? And so, you know, again, this isn't a made up audio. It's real.
438 Carriage House Lane, Warrant Criminal.
Good, what?
205 Central.
205.
All right, guys, I'm back.
Yeah, 1114 Header Drive, Warrant Center.
Okay, so they're serving warrants, it sounds like. Let me turn this off. I got to show you guys something. Give me a second.
Get ready
guys,
to be lied
I will
to.
give you that. I will give you that. So they were at 1008 Stafford Court today, and Chris gave me permission to share this.
Oh,
This is why they were there.
Chris. Thank you, Mr. Chris, sir. Okay, this is bullshit. That's what this is. All right. It's bullshit. I love the little clip of the little kid sitting in the back seat in his car seat. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Okay, that's what you're looking at. It's bullshit. All right. But let's listen. Chris Proudfoot gave Jay permission to share this with her followers.
They were serving the subpoena for Betty's court date on the 19th or whatever day.
Okay. Thank you. God. Oh, I feel so much better. What don't you? If you feel better knowing that this subpoena was served today, 2 hours ago, and it really is not anything at all. It's just that he has to come to court on April the 16th for Betty's thing. If you feel better about that, put a 1. If you're sitting there right now in your house or in your car or at your office or having a picnic at the park and you're thinking, this bullshit, put a 2. Sincerely. If you think it's bullshit, put a 2. If you feel better that this was shared by Chris Proudfoot and all is well, then put a 1. Yeah, so if you're happy that Chris allowed Jay to share this to make us all feel better, put a 1. If you sitting there going, this bullshit, put a 2. Let's see where we are, ladies. And Mark and Scotty. Oh man, there's a lot. The bull is piled high in here today. Yes. Okay, that's great. That's so funny. All right, so let's talk about why it's bullshit. It's bullshit. Okay, you can see that it is indeed for Andra Lynn Griffin, which is Bullhorn Betty, right? And it says that Christopher or Katie, I don't know which one it is, Christopher or Katie have to appear before the judge of the Court of General Sessions for Sumner County on the 16th day of April, 2025 at 9 a.m. to give evidence on behalf of the state of Tennessee. In the state of Tennessee is the plaintiff and Andra Lynn Griffin is the defendant. Blah, 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 blah. And then it says this 19th day of March, 2025. That's the day that they got the warrant, correct? Or not the warrant, the subpoena. They originally got the subpoena on March the 19th, and it should have been served on the 19th. But it was 6 days later that they were actually able to hand it to either Katie or Chris. It took them 6 days to get one of them to accept service of the damn subpoena. See the stamp where the stamp says received March 25th, 2025. Over on the narrative, the text, they wrote through the 19th, slashed through the 19th to record the 25th by hand. 6 days. They tracked these people trying to get them to accept service of this. What is that? What is that called? Is that called a subpoena? General Sessions Court. Okay, now I want you all guys to help me out here because I'm a little stupid sometimes, right? I'm a little dumb, right? Uneducated, have a little trouble with the facts at times. Would you all look down in the bottom right-hand corner of your computer? Would you tell me what today's date is, please? I'll wait. Me too, Holly. Come on, guys. What's the date? Because I'm dumb and stupid that way, right? What's today's date? Oh, gosh. It's April 2nd. Well, how can that be? That's like 8 days ago that this was served. Isn't it? What is that? How many days in between March the 25th, 2025 and April the 2nd, 2025? How many days is that? Isn't that like 8 days? I'm so confused. Christopher, Christopher, do you not have enough money to buy a damn calendar? Are you having a little trouble with how to read a calendar? No, the dispatch is not fake, Boots. The dispatch is real. Did you something what Sin said? The mathin' ain't mathin'. All right. So let's be clear again. We're told by Jays for Justice that Chris Proudfoot told her that she can share this because so many people now have heard the police dispatch where they served the warrant / criminal to 1008 Stafford Court. Jay says, oh my God, what is this? Hold on. I'm going to contact Chris Proudfoot and find out if everything is okay. Then she comes back and she has this picture and she says, Chris told me to share this. He says, everything's fine. It was just this warrant for me to appear in court on the 16th. What's the problem here? There's two different problems. The first problem is the date. The date is all wrong. The second problem is that is a General Sessions Court subpoena, which is by definition a request or an order to appear before the court. But what we hear on the actual Sumner County dispatch is a criminal warrant is being served at the house of 1008. And a criminal warrant is a court-issued document authorizing law enforcement to take action by way of an arrest or a search based on probable cause that a crime has been committed. Okay, that is not what a subpoena is it? A subpoena is it's a legal document that is issued by a court or an authorized entity such as an attorney that orders a person to take specific action with regards to a legal proceeding. There are two types of subpoenas. There is a subpoena ad testificandum. This compels someone to appear in court or at a deposition to testify as a witness. And there is a subpoena ducis tecum. This requires someone to produce documents, records, and other evidence relevant to a case. A subpoena is not a warrant. And a civil warrant is not the same as a criminal warrant. So both a subpoena and a warrant have legal authority. They are both official documents that have to be issued under the authority of a court or a judicial officer. If you fail to comply with a subpoena or a warrant, there are legal consequences. They are both tools that are used in legal proceedings to advance justice, meaning gathering evidence, making sure that the person will participate in the court proceedings, or even just something in general to address a specific named alleged wrongdoing. And they typically have to be delivered in person. All right. The difference between a subpoena and a warrant is pretty stark. A subpoena is an order to appear in court or to testify or produce evidence. A warrant is an order authorizing law enforcement to arrest someone or search a property. Okay, a subpoena compels a citizen. A warrant compels a law enforcement officer. A warrant compels a law enforcement officer to either arrest a person or to search a property where there is a suspected crime. With a subpoena, subpoenas are usually issued to witnesses or third parties, and that would even include like people that are custodians of records, right? With a warrant, the target of a criminal warrant, or even a civil warrant, the target is issued against a specific person suspected of a crime at a location tied to evidence. The purpose of a subpoena is to compel testimony or presentation of evidence, either civil or criminal. But the purpose of a warrant is to detain a subject or to seize evidence. With a subpoena, you basically, the action is required is that you show up to testify or you bring the requested materials to the courthouse by the set date. That's what you have to do with subpoena. The action required in a warrant, it's immediate action. Your ass is arrested or they make you leave the area so that they can search the home or the location. Think about Chad Daybell. They did not give him a subpoena. They knocked on his door. They handed him the warrant and they said, get out, get off this property. We are about to dig your yard up. He couldn't even go back into the house to get his wallet. He couldn't do anything. He went and sat in his car. And as soon as he saw them begin to dig over by the lake where JJ's body was buried, he tried to run away. He took off in the car and they caught him a couple of miles down the road and arrested him. Now, a subpoena is issued or can be issued by a court or a clerk or an attorney. But a warrant must be issued by a judge, and it must be issued based on probable cause. Is someone meeting with the district attorney every week, Bobby Carter? With a subpoena, you don't have to have any probable cause. Probable cause isn't even a factor in a subpoena. I could be ordered to bring a diamond ring to the court if the court decided that my ex-boyfriend was the proper owner of the diamond ring. There didn't need to be probable cause, but with a warrant, probable cause is a foundation. It is required. There must be existing evidence that suggests a crime has occurred, and they are there to either arrest you based on probable cause or to collect evidence. So, we unbiased folks of YouTube, we're a little curious about this. Am I right or wrong? This is very, very curious. And I did send a message to War Eagle trying to get verification that in fact this was something that in fact did happen today. Number one, did this actually happen today, or did this dispatch, was it captured on the 25th? Justin, Jay lied and said it was for a civil court matter. Okay, Justin, I'm going to play it again. Okay, hold on just a minute. All right, so here we go. We're going to play it again and start all over, because if you didn't catch the first part of this, you don't know what's happening. All right. So the first thing, Justin, in this recording right here, Jay has somebody sends this to her and she's listening. I guess she was live maybe at the time. And she's listening to the Sumner County Police dispatch. And here's what you hear.
29, OCM please.
Oh, wait, I didn't start. Sorry.
Yes, I got Tennessee 116 400 529, OCM please.
202 guy. Can you show me out at 1008 Stafford Court, warrant criminal?
Warrant criminal. Okay, you hear that loud and clear. They give the address and they say warrant clear. The cop is telling dispatch, I've arrived at 1008 Stafford Court. I'm serving a warrant criminal. All right. So then War Eagle gets more industrious. And that's where we get this.
438 Carriage House Lane, warrant criminal.
Carriage what? 205 Central. 205.
All right, guys, I'm back.
Yeah, 1114 Header Drive, 47.
Because Jay said, hold on, I'm going to call Chris and make sure everything's okay. Now she's coming back from talking to Chris Proudfoot.
So they're serving warrants, it sounds like. Let me turn this off. I gotta show you guys something. Give me a second. Wow, 3 sides. You don't miss a beat. I will give you that. I will give you that. So they were at 1008 Stafford Court today, and Chris gave me permission to share this. This is why they were there. They were serving the subpoena for Betty's court date on the 19th or whatever day.
Okay. Justin, that's bullshit. Look at the date that this is stamped. First of all, it's a subpoena that for General Sessions Court, it is not a warrant. It's damn sure not a criminal warrant. And if you notice the original date, this is for the court date of April 16th, but the date that it was served was the 19th of March. But apparently they had to chase Chris and or Katie around for 6 days or 8 days. No, 6 days, because they didn't serve it until actually the 25th of March. They struck through the 19 and hand wrote 25. So it took them 6 days to be able to serve whoever that I don't know if it was for Chris or Katie or both, but anyway, took them 6 days. It's stamped that it was received. It's officially been served on March the 25th, 2025, but it is a subpoena. It's a subpoena. It is not a warrant. And today's date is April the 2nd, 2025. So why is he trying to say this is what they gave him for a criminal warrant? No, not even close. So it has nothing to do with Betty, according to this paper. This paper, I've got to say this again though, because people lie and they make up content, right? So if all of this is actually true, if in fact the dispatch recording was from this morning, then they served Stafford Court with a warrant this morning, a criminal warrant. And Christopher Proudfoot, 2 hours later, basically lied to everyone and said that he received a subpoena. And that's really what the big deal is. Okay, so Criminal Justice True Crime says that it was that she heard the scanner. There you go. It is not for Betty's court, Michelle. It is two separate things. I think Chris Proudfoot put this out to try to stop people from talking about it, right? But none of it matches what's on the paper. If it happened this morning, today is April the 2nd. That's April 2nd. And you can hear law enforcement clearly saying it is a warrant criminal. He didn't even just say warrant. He specifically says warrant criminal. That is not a subpoena. I mean, yeah, we'll see what happens. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. If they had a warrant, I would be able to find it. They have no active warrants at all. Supposedly, it was just served this morning. Criminal warrant is for a crime committed for arrest or search. Yeah, I've gone through. I did the whole. What is a subpoena? What is a warrant? How are they the same? How are they different? I did that whole thing. These are. A law enforcement doesn't say that they are at a house serving a criminal warrant and actually they're just doing a subpoena. That is not what's happening. Tina, I believe the hearing just started at 1:30, so we don't yet know. Hey, Yvette, how are you? Okay, so Justin, if you want to come up, you may have something you're doing right now and can't, and that's okay. Don't feel obligated, but if you want to come up, I'll put this, put a link if you want to. If you listen to the broadcast, if you listen to the broadcast, you will hear they serve several different ones this morning. So they must have chosen today to do the ones that we're putting out. So they're serving warrants to a lot of different people around town. Is that what you mean, Bree? Yeah, Chris Proudfoot either believes that people are stupid and that he's the only one that has a brain, or he completely misunderstands that the internet is public information. I'm not sure which it is, because he lies at will. He just tells lies, and then it's like he believes everyone's just going to believe him. Could be criminal based on Chris Proudfoot previously announcing what hotel Betty was in when she was in Hendersonville, posting flyers and calling into clues to say it's legal to run over people in the road. Betty is going to an appeals court. I believe it was granted. Yeah, but okay. Hey, Justin.
Hello, hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, hopefully you can hear me.
I can. How are you?
Good. You doing okay?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. What do you think about this? What's your opinion?
I find this very interesting. I mean, something that happened, a subpoena happening several days ago, is much different than. Do they even radio subpoenas?
No.
You know what I mean?
No, because you can have a subpoena being delivered by like people that just work at clerk of courts.
Anybody really can deliver a subpoena. At least,
right.
It's very interesting. I find it very, very interesting that it's done today, allegedly, from what I understand, right?
It was done like by now, probably 3 hours ago. And listen to this. Here's another factor too. So the court was supposed to start, I think, like at 12:30 maybe, and court got bumped up to 1:30. So we got the dispatch, and then within minutes they said court had been moved to 1:30. So it feels like there's like a coordinated effort happening.
Hold on, I'm getting some information. Hold on, let me check here. I'm getting some information. Let me just check here 1 second. Bear with me.
Okay, if you guys can still hear me, put a 1. I put my headphones on. That can kind of help cut down on the bird noises. Right, Della? It kind of feels that way. I don't know, Sassy T, and to tell you the truth, I'm trying to be careful about, being excited or reading into anything. I want to be very factual about this.
I just talked to War Eagle. I just told him to come in because makes it sound like it's from the 16th, but maybe he knows more. I don't know.
Well, so it's not the recording wouldn't be from the 16th. It's the April 16th is the court hearing, right? Which is what the subpoena is addressing. It would either have to be from the dispatch would have to be from March the 25th. But again, that officer did not say a subpoena. He clearly says warrant, criminal.
Right. Warrant and subpoenas are two different things.
Yeah, so a subpoena compels a citizen. A warrant compels a law enforcement officer.
Okay.
Is that a thing? Has she done that before, Holly? Yeah, but War Eagle, the problem is that this paper that you got says that it's a subpoena.
Has War heard the audio?
Yeah, she's the one that posted it.
Oh, okay.
If you go to Broadcastify, you will hear several different ones. A subpoena is a formal written command. Yeah, I covered all of like the difference between a warrant and a subpoena. Joy sounded like a nerd. Right, War Eagle? I know. It was kind of embarrassing. Her palms were sweaty.
Well, thanks.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
Wow.
What do you think, Justin?
I'm digging right now, so I'm trying to find.
Okay, so Spread Love Not Hate says, I served an eviction personally, and I'm a citizen. Yeah, people can do subpoenas. If I have something in civil court that I'm bringing, I can walk up and give a subpoena to someone that I want to come and testify or bring evidence.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But no, a warrant is a whole different ballgame. That has to be signed off on by a judge. Yes, Rosebud is 100% right.
Well, why would they radio that this morning?
Okay, well, War Eagle, what we're trying to determine is this recording, was it actually done this morning? Was it broadcast today? That will answer all our questions.
Yes, that's a good yes.
So was it broadcast today or not? They radioed it this morning because it happened this morning. There you go.
Then it can't be the same. It can't be the same. It just can't.
It is absolutely not at all related to Bullhorn Betty. That is absolutely not true.
I think this is trying to be downplayed, in my opinion.
This is Christopher Proudfoot misleading us again. His silly games.
Yeah. And again, I want to make sure, this is speculation on my part, but it just feels like perhaps it's because maybe the police want to, they're obviously looking for something. A warrant, they're interested in something, whether it's a warrant to hand over something, to go inside, a home, a vehicle, or whatever.
Okay. So there's only two reasons to have a warrant. Okay. Well, okay. This type of warrant, you can get a geofencing warrant, which is a little bit different, but with a criminal warrant, that is a direct order from a judge that is, and there has to be probable cause.
Of course. Yes.
And the order is telling law enforcement to arrest someone or to search their property without their permission. The law enforcement is authorized to make them leave their home, and then law enforcement will go in and find whatever is named, whatever it is that they're looking for, right?
Well, generally they will ask you, they say you can hand it over, you can let us voluntarily enter or take said property, or we can get a warrant. It's one way or the other.
Well, they said that he was delivering the warrant. He was there to serve the warrant.
Which means they likely, declined.
I bet they're searching the house for something. And the fact that they had Betty's court date this morning and they knew that the Proudfeet were going to be there at the courthouse, that's a real good time to go in and search someone's property that doesn't want you there.
Bingo. Bingo.
Wow.
Bingo.
Wow. And
Bingo.
then Chris tells Jay, oh, it's just a subpoena, no biggie. Go ahead and spread this around the internet and let's put out some more disinformation.
Yep. I agree.
Wow. Unbelievable. It's possible. So it sounds like a subpoena for a grand jury or deposition, the criminal warrant for not following the court subpoena. What are you talking about?
No.
The date for the appearance is April the 16th. It's still 2 weeks away. So nobody violated a subpoena to appear to the grand jury.
Yeah.
Okay, criminal justice says that she heard it on the scanner today. Yeah, Sam, it's either a search or arrest. Absolutely. And Chris is once again lying, spreading misinformation. Yeah. So,
And again, why would you lie about or spread information allegedly when it comes to your missing stepchild?
I mean, you wouldn't, right? In fact, you would want to quell misinformation. You would want to stop any misinformation happening.
Yeah, it's obvious, in my opinion. It's blatantly obvious.
Christopher was not cooperating with law enforcement.
Well, I can tell you that they had, from what I understand, and I have a very good source on this, they have not been allegedly cooperating since September 2024.
Wow. That long, huh?
Mm-hmm. Allegedly.
Yeah. Okay, so Bree says she cannot find any warrant for either Katie or Christopher. And then Lindsay says case number refers to KP versus BHB. And it very clearly states BHB's full name on subpoena. You're using the word subpoena, Lindsay, and law enforcement used the word warrant criminal. And if you go back to the beginning of this video, I tell you the difference between a subpoena and a warrant. That's the issue. No one's saying that the subpoena is inaccurate. He did receive the subpoena on March the 25th, not on April the 2nd. The warrant was served today, April 2nd, if what people are saying about the broadcast is true.
Yeah. Hey, I'm getting some more information, but I need to listen to it and look at it. I'm going to save your link. I might jump back up in just a second. Okay.
Of course. Thank you for being here, Justin.
Of course. Thank you, hon. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. All right. So you can see where people are kind of trying to say, no, this isn't anything. It's just a subpoena. It really isn't. Yes, Chris Proudfoot gave Jay a picture of the subpoena and said, you can show this to everybody on the internet. Yes, you're right. That's true. And we showed it here on the screen. The problem is the date is wrong. So the only real question is, when was this police recording broadcast? Did the police record it? Is this 6 days old? Was this actually an old recording from March the 25th? Or was it in fact broadcast live this morning on the 2nd? That's really the only thing that's at issue here. Have we ever heard audio of a dispatcher misspeaking? I have not, Lindsay. No, not something like a warrant being served. That was Katie's subpoena. It was for 2 weeks ago. Right. The picture that Christopher Proudfoot gave JS for Justice was from March the 25th. And that doesn't have anything to do with April the 2nd. She just, wait, what is this? She just posted the summons on her channel, but I can't see the dates on it. It's no longer a warrant, but a case number. Thank you. Question everything. Bree, did you see that? It's so wild, Lindsay. It's so upset. The Proud Feet create so much misinformation. Do you remember the whole green hoodie was an old guy? You remember that? And then it turned out it wasn't an old man at all. It was a middle-aged woman with red hair. It was such a, like, why do you want to put out lies and misinformation when there is a young kid or young adult who is missing? Why would you want to do that? It might be, trust me, I want this to be something, but I think if we put the facts together, I think there was some miscommunication somewhere with law enforcement. Well, Bree, can I ask you this question? How was there miscommunication if the date on the subpoena shows that it was served on March the 25th, but the broadcastify was April 2nd? How is that miscommunication? How is that a mistake? So CP thought us sleuths were not going to see a date. Well, I mean, we look at dates, don't we? We double check names. We look at locations. I'm telling you, he must think that we don't. He must think that we're just not paying attention, that all we do is just get online and run our mouth and not pay attention to details. Hey, Hot Mess, how are you? Welcome. Now, Hot Mess is one who could track down if this is real or not. I will say that the date thing is a bit alarming if it was only issued today. Yeah, War Eagle posted it in a couple different times. People are saying it's on Broadcastify. It was served this morning. And to be clear, what Christopher Proudfoot told Jay to share was misinformation. This was given to Jay by Chris Proudfoot, correct? Okay, well, that says subpoena General Sessions Court. The case number is tied to Bullhorn Betty and Katie. It says the upcoming court date is April the 16th, which hasn't happened yet. It's in 2 weeks. And it shows that the subpoena was originally supposed to be served on March the 19th, but it took them 6 days to actually get it delivered to Katie or Chris. And they hand wrote the 25th, and you have an actual official stamp that shows, hey, we gave this to the people on March 25th, 2025. That is not April the 2nd. If that was served today, it would say April the 2nd, 2025. That's what's at issue. I know Chris Proudfoot and Jay for Justice gave us this, but it doesn't look right. It's not matching the dates. Thank you, Yvette. Right. Today is April 2nd, but this subpoena, not warrant, this subpoena is stamped the 25th. It's not right. It's not the same document. They do not serve warrants. Here's another part that's Rosebud is 100% right. You do not get a warrant to appear in court. There's 2 reasons to get a warrant legally. You get a warrant to arrest a person, or you get a warrant to conduct a search. Okay. They don't give you a warrant to say you got to be in court on the 16th to talk about a disagreement that you have. Hey, Jenny Machete. Yes, Chris sent Jay this after they heard the scanner this morning. Thank you, War Eagle. Oh my God. Thank you, War Eagle. Thank you. I promised you my firstborn. No, I'm kidding. That was it's a little bit dramatic, but you get my point. I'm deeply grateful. Okay. Yeah, I think it is. I think it is an outrage. And I cannot say this strong enough. Okay. It's an outrage, the lies that come out of Christopher Proudfoot and SF Investigates mouth when what you're talking about is a missing teenager who has special needs. It's an outrage. It's so crazy. Imagine Christopher Proudfoot picking up the phone. Hey, Jay says, Chris, what's going on? We're hearing that the cops are at your house and they have a criminal warrant. Yeah, that's not real. That's bullshit. It's a subpoena. I have the receipts. I got the proof. He takes a picture of a subpoena that was provided on March the 25th, not served criminal warrant on April 2nd. So again, I have to say this again because of the way these people operate. We still don't, or no, let me say it this way. I don't have verification that the police dispatch was actually live this morning that said, I'm at 1008 Stafford and I'm delivering a criminal warrant. That recording could have happened on the 25th, but again, a criminal warrant is a completely different thing than a subpoena. You know what it's like, y'all? To try to say that a criminal warrant and a subpoena are the same, it would be like saying that your birth certificate and your marriage certificate are the same. No, they're not the same. They do two completely different things. They fulfill dramatically different functions in law enforcement. Right, Trooper's mom? Oh my gosh. I mean, it's time. No, it can't be a distraction, Sassy. It was law enforcement it was dispatch that we heard on the Broadcastify app. No, it wasn't a distraction. It was law enforcement. Okay, this is so frustrating. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? Here we go. Hold on. I'm going to do this for everybody because it makes it easier to conceptualize. Because everybody's confused, which is this is what Chris Proudfoot wanted. He wanted confusion. Okay, you don't have to let him take you by the frontal lobe and lead you around like a little puppy. You have your own brain. You can think independently of whatever Chris Proudfoot puts out. There's no reason to just believe Chris Proudfoot or just believe Seth. We don't have to do that. You have logic, so you have to stop a minute. It's true. It's true that Jay is for Justice posted this photograph of the subpoena that is dated March the 25th. Chris told her she could share it. And that was in reaction to Jay calling him and saying, is everything okay? We just heard the cops are at your house. That was this morning, about 3 hours ago. So the response to the Broadcastify, where you can hear Sumner County Dispatch saying, I'm at the Proudfoot home. I mean, they're giving the address. They're saying 1008, and we're serving a criminal warrant. Chris responds by giving us a subpoena. You see the problem? Okay, a subpoena is not a criminal warrant. The other problem is today is April the 2nd. This subpoena is dated March the 25th for a court date that doesn't happen until April the 16th, 2 weeks from now. So all of you guys you're arguing about this subpoena. which is what Chris Proudfoot wanted you to do. This subpoena is a red herring. It has nothing to do with the price of eggs in China. It means nothing. We are not talking about Christopher Proudfoot's subpoena. We're talking about, hold on just a minute and I'll have to share it with you. We're talking about a dispatch that was done today, this morning, about 3 hours ago. And here's the dispatch.
Yes, I Tennessee 116-400-529. OCR please.
202, guys. Can you show me out at 1008 Stafford Court, Warrant criminal?
Yes, I Tennessee 116.
Whoa. What was that? What's 1008, y'all?
That's the Proudfoot home.
Yeah, this is from the Sumner County Dispatch 7 minutes ago. Was this 7 minutes ago? 3 sides? What? Hold on. Let me play it again.
00529. OCR please.
202, guys. Can you show me out at 1008 Stafford Court, Warrant criminal?
So he says, can you show me at 1008 Stafford Court, warrant criminal? So he's serving a criminal warrant to the Proudfoot home this morning, about 3 hours ago, if the broadcastify did actually happen today. Okay. So then Jay says, well,
yes, I Tennessee 116-400-5.
What the fuck? Wait, 3 sides. When did you? That is their house. Warrant criminal. Uh-oh. What's going on? Does it say anything else? Hold on. Hold on, guys. I'm going to text CP and see if anything's going on.
okay, so she's going to text Christopher Proudfoot to find out what's going on. All right. All this was from JS for Justice this morning. Okay, now listen to this part. This was after she's talking to Christopher Proudfoot.
438 Carriage House Lane, Warrant criminal. 205 Central.
205.
All right, guys, I'm back.
Yeah, 1114 Heather Drive, 47.
Okay, so they're serving warrants, it sounds like. Let me turn this off. I got to show you guys something. Give me a second. Wow, 3 sides. You don't miss a beat. I will give you that. So they were at 1008 Stafford Court today, and Chris gave me permission to share this. This is why they were there. They were serving the subpoena for Betty's court date on the 19th or whatever day.
Jay, you might want to start reading, okay? The court date is April the 16th at 9 a.m. That's 2 weeks from today. Where you're seeing that it says March the 19th, and then the 19th is scratched out and it's handwritten the 25th, they started trying to serve the subpoena, not the warrant, the subpoena on the 19th, and it took 6 days to finally get someone to take receipt on the 25th of March. Look at your calendar. Today is not March the 25th. Today is April 2nd. This subpoena that is stamped March the 25th, 2025, this subpoena is for Bullhorn Betty's court case. That has nothing to do with what is a criminal warrant that was served this morning. Now then, hold on a second, folks. Okay, so in order to reduce the confusion that was created by Christopher Proudfoot, let's talk about how a subpoena and a warrant are the same or how they are different. The definition of a subpoena is it is an order to appear in court to testify or produce evidence. He's been ordered, or Katie's been ordered to present in court with evidence for Bullhorn Betty. On March the 25th, he received that. A criminal warrant, however, is an order authorizing law enforcement to arrest you or to search your property. Okay, that's different than being told you better go to court. The target of a subpoena is basically to witnesses or people that might be holders of records, right? A librarian. But the target of a warrant is against a specific person who is suspected of a crime or a location that is tied to evidence. See the difference? It's a huge difference. The purpose of a subpoena to compel testimony or evidence. But the purpose of a warrant is to detain a person, a suspect, or to seize evidence against their approval. So they would have shown up and said, hey, Chris, you guys get out of the house. We have a search warrant. And it doesn't matter what you say or do, we're coming in. And he was probably on the phone with his attorney saying, they're here, they got a search warrant. How do we fight this? And the attorney is saying, you don't, because that warrant came from a judge. The action that is required as the result of being served a subpoena, just show up to the court. Just show up and testify or show up with the evidence that they're looking for. That's all you got to do. It's not a big deal. But the action that is required for a warrant, there is an immediate action, and it is compelled by a judge to the law enforcement officials. That warrant tells cops, you got a job to do. I don't care if you don't want to do it. I don't care if it's going to be uncomfortable, but you get your ass in there and you do it. You either arrest the dude or you search the location for what we're looking for. A subpoena and a warrant are not the same thing. The person that can issue a subpoena includes a court or a clerk or even you or me. We can write a subpoena if we're bringing like a civil case. It's not a high degree of probable cause. But who can issue a warrant? A judge. And a judge just can't haphazardly say, oh, yeah, I think the dude did it. I'm just going to give a subpoena. There are legal requirements that there has to be evidence that would support probable cause. There has to be something that's already been gathered that would say, yeah, we got some pretty good evidence to know that this person is wrapped up in some funny criminal business. And now we're looking for this specific thing. All right. And then probable cause is not required with a subpoena, but with a warrant, you must have probable cause, and the probable cause gets presented to the judge. And then once the judge sees the evidence, the probable cause, then they will sign a warrant, or very often they will say, no, this isn't enough to invade someone's life. It isn't enough to take someone's freedom. You better get me something else before I sign this. There has to be evidence that suggests a crime occurred. There has to be some kind of evidence that evidence that what they're looking for exists at that location. That's what I was telling you guys about the warrant for the geofencing. Chris Proudfoot said, I didn't get there till the 26th at 1:00 in the afternoon. Okay, sorry, Chris. Once again, that is not the way it works. Geofencing, according to the court's precedent, The 4th District Court and the 5th District Court's having a little bit of argument with them, but you guys, Chris Proudfoot, are in the 4th District Court because I looked. They said geofencing is absolutely allowed. It can be collected and used in a court of law, but there are some very fine restrictions. Number 1, there has to be evidence to believe that a crime was committed in that location that you are wanting to do the geofencing. That's number 1. The second one, Christopher, limited, defined time range. They won't give a geofencing warrant, Christopher, for even 12 hours. A geofencing warrant, the cops, the judge, they're going to look at an event. They're going to say, look, this looks like there was a crime committed right here around 3 a.m. So can we have a geofencing warrant from like 2:45 to 3:15? Just a general time around that targeted time to see if we got our guy in that location. So Chris Proudfoot, the fact that you claim that your truck got caught up in a geofencing warrant on the 26th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, when that neighborhood was filled with strangers that were looking for Sebastian, that is another one of your lies, buddy. And I don't mind saying it. I know how geofencing warrants work. I understand the process. I understand the legalities of it. And that's not what happened. They looked at that car, that 3 a.m. car, those flashlights, and they said, we want to know who was in the neighborhood at that time. And you said your truck got caught up in that warrant. And then there are consequences of noncompliance. If you are non-compliant with the subpoena, you can be fined or jailed for contempt of court. But the consequences for non-compliance to a warrant is immediate arrest and forced entry, like we saw happen with Chad Daybell when they dug up his backyard and found JJ and Tylee's bodies. Okay. So I hope, I haven't been looking at the chat, but I hope that makes it a little more understandable why. Oh my God, Emily Pickles. Oh my God. I'm not going to repeat it. I'm not going to go over it again. Emily, honey, I understand, Emily, that Christopher Proudfoot, your king, that he gave a photograph of a subpoena that was served on March the 25th, 2025, related to Bullhorn Betty. I get that, Miss Pickles. But the point is that the Broadcastify, where you have the law enforcement saying, we are at the Proudfoot home and we are delivering a criminal warrant, that happened on April the 2nd, Ms. Pickles. That's the point. Chris Proudfoot put out that photograph of that subpoena intentionally to create confusion and disinformation. Oh, my Lord. Lordy, Lordy. All right. He heard that law enforcement broadcast and he rushed to cover. Some people... it should be against the rules for people to come in late and not rewind. Cognizance and crime. I love your name. CP was flipping out. Hold on. Wait a minute. Where'd it go? CP was flipping. No. 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 Okay. I'm not going to get excited. Cognizance and crime. I'm going to stay chill because I don't believe these people. I'm not convinced that this was from April 2nd. Okay. I'm holding it together. Are you saying cognizance and crime that in court today, Christopher Proudfoot was under emotional duress? He was flipping his lid? Is that what you're saying? That he was freaking out? I'm going to punch my computer in the head. Jenny, a subpoena is not a criminal warrant. Okay? I'm not going to say it again. I can't keep up with the lies and the drama. Benny, oh my goodness, Benny, come sit with me. We're having the same trauma. I don't understand any of it. I can't keep up with the lies and the drama with this case. I thought everyone said they moved, so how could they serve him at that address? Bubbly Beth, we're going to need a bubble bath to get over this trauma. I swear, I'm getting vicarious trauma from this nonsense. Wow, it's so crazy. Some people are still confused. The paperwork says it's a subpoena, but the dispatch call clearly says criminal warrant. Chris gave J is for Justice the picture to mislead the public. And then apparently Chris is sitting in the courtroom with his mother and he's losing his shit. Now, what would make him freak out when they've been planning for this Bullhorn Betty date for months? Why is he freaking out? This is a pretty humdrum meeting for anyone else except Betty. I'm sure Betty is very disturbed, right? What does this say? CP is what kids say today is crashing out. Is he crashing out? Do we have anyone that was in the courtroom today and saw Mr. Proudfoot losing his proverbial shit? Anyone? Trooper's mom lives locally. Trooper's mom, run up to the courthouse, please. Put a bead on Chris Proudfoot and tell us, does he look distraught? That's what we want to know. Oh, Ash Cash. Wouldn't that have been just delightful? Oh, my goodness. The only thing better would be seeing SF get served. There's a big difference between a subpoena and a criminal warrant. Indeed, there is. Absolutely. The warrant could be for a search of the house. They would not arrest him or Katie if it's just a warrant for the house. Absolutely correct. 100%. And let me remind everyone, in the case of Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow, they showed up at Chad's house with a search warrant. They said, get out. You cannot go back in. You can't get anything. You got to go. So he gets in his car. He goes across the street. He's sitting in the driveway of his daughter's house. And he's sitting in the car. I think he was drinking. I think he sounded drunk on the phone. But he was looking back over his shoulder at his property where they were digging up his backyard. And when they went over to the tree where JJ Vallow was buried, he started his car up and he tried to drive away. And law enforcement caught him 2 miles down the road where he was then completely arrested, and he has not had a breath of fresh air since that day. So sometimes search warrants do in fact result in an immediate arrest. That is true. If they find the evidence they're looking for, the arrest will happen. Yeah, Crystal, the amount of disinformation is just crazy. And you heard me say that with the geofencing warrant, the court cases, there's an argument against the fourth appeals court and the fifth appeals court, but the Proudfoot home falls within the fourth appeals district. And they have said geofencing warrants are absolutely constitutional, but you have to adhere to two specific guidelines. One, you have to have proof that a crime may have been committed. And number two, you have to have a time for when that crime happened. You can't just run a 24-hour geofence to see who showed up. You have to say, okay, the crime happened in this location at around this time. You have to be very specific to get one of these warrants in order for it doesn't get overturned in court. The only proof that I know of, and of course, I don't know anything, so there could be other stuff. But the only thing that we've been exposed to the public that would be sufficient to perhaps get a judge to sign off on a geofencing warrant would be the car and the 2 flashlights. It happened around 3 a.m. We know the location, and we know the location from whence Sebastian went missing. So that would have been, in my machinations, that would have been the details for the geofencing warrant. And if that is true, and they got Christopher Proudfoot's truck at 3 a.m. in that location, then he's got a problem. Obtuse. It's so obtuse. It is super easy to understand. Oh, mama, didn't please CP. Was the police scanner recorded? Yes, because it was posted. The first one that I saw had Jay is for Justice face on it. Someone sent it to her. Somebody called 3 Sides, I think. It's not a search warrant, it's criminal. Okay, well, no, that's not exactly right. So you can have a search warrant for a criminal offense. Again, Chad Daybell, they had a search warrant. It was a criminal element. What they were investigating were murders, correct? So it was criminal. And it was a warrant / criminal for searching the property. But when Chad ran and they caught him, and then they had JJ's body, they found what they were looking for. Now they get the arrest warrant. Now they have him. I know, Polly Pepper. Chris and his mother happened outside the courthouse, not in the court. So, Tina, were you there when this all went down? He's tired. It isn't fun for him anymore, right? Can I be honest? This is, I feel a little bit irritated that this happened because I've grown so, how should I say this? I've grown so skeptical, right? This whole case is so dirty. The people in this case are dirty. I don't mean they need a bar of soap. I mean they're dirty in terms of this curious principles and morality. Like they're a strange group of people. Why do you want to put out lies when you're looking for your child? Why do you want to bring people to court when there's a missing kid? It's odd. The decisions that are being made, it's really strange. And I've kind of, if you look at my channel, I've kind of taken a step back away from it because it did get so petty and personal. Just nonsense. And so I started covering some other cases, Dr. Turek and, of course, Lori Vallow always. And now this has happened. And now I'm feeling like, okay, I got to talk about this because this is huge. If this is real, this could be really something. We may actually figure out where Sebastian is, what happened to him, the whole 9 yards, right? But then a part of me is going, don't you dare believe this den of snakes. No, because they have definitely been known to cook up contrived little, games for content, like to get views and money and all that kind of nonsense. So while my fingers are crossed and I have a lot of hope that this will lead to finding Sebastian and that he is safe and he's living with maybe a family member or something like that. I feel irritated because it sucked me back into the madness, right? I don't want to be manipulated by people. And this has a little bit of a feel of manipulation. And then again, here's the truth. If the Broadcastify is authentic, if it actually did come out this morning, April the 2nd, live, then it's not a fake. And it means that there's definite movement in this investigation. And I am grateful for that. So Eric Craddock, Bobby Carter, you will have my forever apologies for doubting you if you guys are actually investigating. Like I will be overtly apologetic. She seems relieved. Bullhorn Betty seems relieved. He's tired. This isn't fun for him anymore. Anybody with a Broadcastify subscription can check the archives for the date. Y'all go check Broadcastify yourselves if you don't believe the dispatch was from today. Marlena, am I to believe that you were able to check your Broadcastify subscription and you found the call recorded under April the 2nd, 2025? Is that right? Because if you saw it, I'm going to totally believe you and then I'll be happy. Come on, this is getting embarrassing. How many times does Jules have to explain the difference between a subpoena and a criminal warrant? And here's the other thing, DB. I don't have to explain it. Go over to one of the AI machines, go to Chat GPT or Grok on Twitter and ask, what's the difference between a subpoena and a criminal warrant in the state of Tennessee? And then maybe you'll believe Twitter or Chat GPT. You don't have to believe what I'm saying. Although I would challenge you and say, why would I lie? Like, what do I get out of lying? Absolutely nothing. I get nothing from misleading you guys. Criminal warrant is spelled different. That is obtuse. You are so funny, Bubbly Beth. Bullhorn Betty just said it on her live. Okay, what did she say, Sassy? Tell us. Trooper's mom, walk on over there and let us know. In plain terms, Chris wants you to think that this is what he got this morning. It is not what he received this morning that we are hearing on the dispatch. He is hiding the truth behind this March 25th subpoena. Chris Proudfoot and Terry Lynn got into it. Damn, that girl. That Terry Lynn, she is a spitfire. I love that girl. I wish we had a recording of that. Maybe somebody got it. Losing his shit and arguing with Terry Bowersocks around the corner. Whoa. Is that true, Benny? Betty saw it. It happened outside. Oh my God. What the hell? See, I said I wasn't going to get excited. I'm not going to get excited because people get misled. There's all kinds of little money-making ventures with this group. I'm not going to get excited. Bullhorn Betty. I'm not going to get excited. I'm just not. I'm going to keep it together. Okay, so Betty is live. All right. Betty's live. She is smiling, folks. This is good. She's smiling. So why don't we end this live and all of us head over to Betty's because she was there. This was her court case. She saw Chris Proudfoot this morning. Let's go and see what actually happened. If you agree with me, put a 1 in the chat. And I'll be back later on this afternoon. CP is on Queen Bee's channel. What the hell? You're kidding. Bullhorn sorry, Queen Bee. Are you serious that Christopher Proudfoot is on Queen Bee's? That cannot be real. That is not real. I cannot believe that's real. That son of a bitch is on Queen Bee's channel. Oh, my goodness. What in the world? No, you know what, Mystic Firefly? You cannot show Queen Bee while she's live. She will take your channel down. She will not let you do that. Nope. Well, you know what? Let me say this. He's on live with Queen Bee. Why isn't he at home? Why is it 3 o'clock in the middle of the day or 4 o'clock in the middle of the day and he's doing a live with Queen Bee? They didn't do that the last time that they were in court with Betty. So why are they doing it today? Why? Where is he? Why didn't he go home? Maybe he can't go home. Maybe there's a whole bunch of cops there looking for stuff. I know, blah, blah, blah. I'm saying garbage attacks mold. CP is messier than a gossiping woman. There you go, Kim. All right. He could be home online with QB if true. I don't know. We'll see, right? I'm going to pretend that he's sitting all alone in his big old truck. Can't go home because the cops told him to stay away while they're doing a search. But that's all fantasy. It's just delusion. Okay. No news cameras this time either, inside or outside. Hey, Kiki. It's so good to see you. Thank you for being here. Okay, guys. Yes, CP's on QBs. Okay, I'm not going to go listen to Chris Proudfoot because that's bullshit. Remember, Chris Proudfoot's the one that put the subpoena out. He also said that Green Hoodie was an old guy, and it wasn't an old guy at all. It was a middle-aged woman with red hair. So I'm not going to go listen to Chris Proudfoot. He's a known liar. I'm going to go over to Bullhorn Betty where we can actually get maybe some information. All right. And then I'll meet you guys back here later this afternoon. Is that a plan? Do people agree? If you agree with that plan, put a 1. If you're going to go over and listen to Chris Proudfoot on Queen Bee, put a 2. That's hilarious. You can go do what you want to do. I can't tell you what to do. Then I'm going to go listen to Bullhorn and get some information. And then later I'll go listen to Chris Proudfoot. All right, guys, y'all are awesome. Yeah, thank you for being here. I enjoyed it. If you don't mind, please do a thumbs up so the algorithm will try to pick this video up. And I invite you to subscribe if you have not already. Makes me happy. And I don't know, maybe it lets you know when I put up a new video. All right. I will see you guys later this afternoon. And then we'll talk more about this circus. See you later.